Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Diego Dario, and in tonight's game plan, we'll break down the matchups you can't miss in the upcoming finals of the UAAP Season 85 Men's Basketball Tournament.
We'll also put together the athletes who shine the brightest in the 2022 PVL Reinforced Conference. And we'll check in with the Pinoy fighters Rolando D and Joemil Miado as they get set to compete in the upcoming Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship Asia 4. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Well, it's the Battle of Katipunan once again. It prevails once again as the UP Fighting Maroons are hoping to defend their title against the top-seeded Ateneo Blue Eagles. Now, with me to discuss the matchups you can't miss is my co-host who doesn't miss, UAAP analyst Diego Dario. Diego, you'll be calling that first game with Tito Miko Halili, and I could only imagine your excitement for this matchup.
Now, if you notice my outfit right now, it's maroon and blue, so totally no bias here in this
liar
in this situation right here. But basically, this is the rematch of the finals last season, Season 84. But this is a trilogy, the third time Ateneo and UP will be facing each other. And just to clear out those debates of who's the underdog, I believe no one's the underdog here in Ateneo and UP. Both are the favorites, I would say, because they're the top two teams in the UAP with identical records as well. So, no underdogs for me.
Hard to find an underdog. I think that you can make arguments for both being the underdog.
I agree.
But at the same time, it's going to be tough to call. Almost 50-50. So let's take a look here at some of the matchups that you wanted to highlight. And I think this very first one is very interesting because a lot of people, it might fly above the heads of some people, but it's Coach Tab Baldwin against Coach Goldwyn Monteverde. A lot of people in the recent past would say that Coach Tab Baldwin, best coach in the UAP by far, bar none. He's done his work at Gilas Pilipinas. But then you have Coach Goldwyn, who was able to figure out Ateneo last season. Who do you got here?
Well, basically, Coach Goldwyn's the only coach who figured out Coach Tab Baldwin. Coach Tab has been in the finals in all the years that he has been coaching for Ateneo in the UAAP. So Coach Tab is a multiple-time champion here in the seniors division. Meanwhile, Coach Gold has one in his belt, but also a multiple-time champion in the juniors division. And he's trying to do the same thing here in the seniors division. When you take a look at their teams, basically, they lost to the same teams. They lost to each other in the elimination round. Number one on defense is UP. Number two is Ateneo. On offense, though, number one is Ateneo. And then number two is UP. So basically, super balanced matchup here. Just like my outfit right here.
That's just enough about that, Jegs. But then, talking about another balanced matchup, you have to talk about Ange Kwame against Malik Diouf. Because Ange Kwame now will have to concede the fact that there's a new MVP in town. And that is, of course, presumably now Malik Diouf because of the statistical points. You take a look at this matchup, I feel that this may be a bit more even compared to last year.
Well, as you mentioned, reigning MVP was Ange Kwame. Now, the MVP is Malik Diouf. That's what the numbers say. And it's going to be a great matchup between these two. I mean, look at the numbers. Basically, almost identical when it comes to points, rebounds, and their roles also for their teams. Very identical. They're the anchor on defense. On offense, though, a lot of the plays actually start with him. Ange Kwame down in the post. Malik Diouf, one of the better passers in the UAAP, even at his height. So these two players will really go at it here in the finals.
And Malik Diouf will like to continue his role as a tormentor of Ateneo ever since his CEU days. So let's see whether or not he'll make a big difference. But I like this next matchup that you highlighted. David Defonso against Carl Tamayo. Carl Tamayo is him for UP.
Basically.
Has been. And David Defonso has had flashes. But then do you feel that this could be his time to break out?
Okay, so I know we're talking about matchups here, but I doubt that they will be defending each other in the finals, talking about Dave and Carl because they play totally different positions. But I feel like they're going to be having the same roles when it comes to the championship. Carl Tamayo will be that guy down the line, fourth quarter. It's a close matchup. He will be the one who will take over. I mean, he's done that before. And for Dave, he's done a little bit of that this season 85, but I feel like he will be the guy for Ateneo. He needs to be the guy for Ateneo when it comes to those down the stretch plays clutch situations.
And of course, when you look at that matchup, of course, David Defonso, you look at the numbers and they're relatively similar to what Carl Tamayo does. Do you feel, though, that he needs to step up even further, not just from a numbers perspective, because we all know Carl Tamayo is right now and what he does. You mentioned they have similar roles.
Yep.
But then for Dave to step up and be a bit more forceful in a team that's really system-based, do you feel that he can and has the ability to do that?
Well, basically for Dave, it's redemption time. Last season, if you remember, season 84, Dave was shut down by this UP defense. And this time, it's time for him to prove those doubters wrong, to prove to everyone that, he's the guy here for Ateneo in the finals, even with a lot of players trying to defend him. This is going to be a test for Dave Ildefonso.
So let's see whether or not he'll live up to that expectation. Of course, we already have expectations for Carl Tamayo, and that is to dominate at one point or the other. This next matchup is also interesting. BJ Andrade and Terence Fortea. Two guys that you mentioned here that have contributed well in terms of moving the ball around, getting the assist numbers up, and of course contributing in different parts of the game as well as their scoring. What do you see from these two?
Well, if you take a look at the numbers of both teams, it's going to be a very defensive matchup here in the finals because both teams, both coaches take pride on defense, and it's going to be important, these two players, because they're the designated shooters for two teams. So if both teams are playing good defense, those shots have to fall down because you can't just go for layups or mid-range jumpers in the finals. You have to make those three-pointers. So BJ Andrade, more of a catch-and-shoot three-pointer for Ateneo. Terence Fortea, point guard who shoots well off the dribble. So basically same roles when it comes to being shooters, but they produce it in very different ways. They're going to be very crucial here in this matchup, UP and Ateneo.
So we still have a bit more time, so we can circle back to the very first matchup that you mentioned, Coach Tab Baldwin, Coach Goldwyn Monteverde. The reason why I want to do that is because when you take a look at UP, people will say that the strength is in their depth, and making sure that they're utilized fully is going to be the challenge for Coach Goldwyn. And at the same time, Coach Tab, on the other end, has to make sure that the production does not stop once the bench players do come in. How do you look at that matchup in particular?
Well, here in the second round, Coach Tab Baldwin has been challenging that second unit to perform, and they have stepped up to the plate. Especially here in the second round, the bench of Ateneo has been developing. In the first round, that was a little bit of missing because in the first five, their first five has been the best first five so far in the whole season. Out of all the 8 teams, Ateneo has the best starting unit. But for UP, they have been switching up their starting five, switching up their second unit because they can and because, as you mentioned, they have the depth.
So, sino magcha-champion?
That is the top question.
So
the balance is insane, just like my outfit, like I mentioned, Pao.
Okay, and with that, you know what? There's still so much more to go through.
That's true. Still in the UAAP, there's one more event that's about to go down this weekend. Catch the UAAP Season 85 cheer dance competition as the 8 cheering squads from all 8 universities perform on December 10th. That's tomorrow at the Mall of Asia Arena. Watch the action live on the UAAP Varsity channel and One Sports starting at 4 p.m.
The biggest cheer dance competition in the country is here. All 8 pep squads are ready to rise as one as they move and groove to their own beat. Witness them dance and stunt their way to the top. The question is, who will make it to the podium this year?
This year's cheer dance kings and queens are from Far Eastern University.
UAAP Season 85 Cheer Dance Competition happening this December 10 at the Mall of Asia Arena. Catch the fun and excitement on One Sports, UAAP Varsity Channel, Signal Play, and Smart Gigaplay.
After the break, we'll talk about the standouts in the 2022 PVL Reinforced Conference. Stay tuned, you're watching The Game. Welcome back to the game. It's that time of the year again where we do a special awarding ceremony for athletes who shine bright in the volleyball court. To talk about the game awards for the 2022 PVL Reinforced Conference, we have with us volleyball analyst Mela Tunay. Mela, welcome back to the game.
Hi Diego, hi Pao.
Alright,
Good
so
to be back.
just to be clear here, this is not an official list from the PVL. This is the list of Mela Tunay. But first of all,
So it's still very important.
It's still
a very important
That is
list.
true. Pero paano mo ba how did you come up with these awards and how did you choose these players?
Unang-una, it's very on the spot ha. Kasi mga 5 minutes ago lang. Pero I think in terms of how, I just looked at the players who stepped up, especially in the latter part of the conference, and also highlighted those who didn't get an actual PVL award but deserves the recognition then. So at least here in the game, we could recognize them.
Of course, you also had a hand in all the names of the awards. So we'll let you explain that also as we mentioned. Pero ito muna yung hindi kailangan ng explanation. Most Improved Player Award, Most Improved Award, who did you pick?
Well, for this particular award, I chose Zakaran Datang, and I think all of us would agree that the whole volleyball community really enjoyed the emergence of Zakaran Dang, especially after that rebuilding stage of Cherry Tigo. Ang dami nilang mga veterans na nawala, especially sa middle position. They lost Micah Ortiz, sila Rachel Ostero, who's been doing the damage in the middle game of Cherry Tigo in the past. But after that, biglang sumabog nga itong pangalan ni Zakarandang, and she's also one of the most consistent in their team. Actually, one of their top scorers also among the powerful local scorers that they have. So she's actually, I think, number 14 by the end of the Elings in terms of scoring. So definitely, she improved a lot this conference.
Nagulat ka ba sa improvement niya? Because as you mentioned, a lot of pieces went away for Cherry Tigo, and a lot of people are wondering where the scoring would come from apart from Mylene Paat.
Well, yung kinagulat ko is yung leadership niya. Kasi in terms of her skills, I've seen her potential even when she was back in FEU pa. And the products of Coach Shaq and the FEU program, they have Remy Palma, Sed Domingo, even Villarreal have had her mga shining moments in the past. But Zakarandang and how she really played like a leader this conference for Cherry Tigo, that's what surprised me.
And talking about leadership and being leaders, for your next award, Gold Digger Award, and most likely receiver to, libero to, sino yung napili mo?
Gold digger talaga. Well, siguding the Remdes to. And she very much deserved that award, although it was really a tight competition among the liberos kasi sino ba yung mga nandyan, sila Bang Pineda, especially nung ito ng semi, sila Bang Pineda, Kayla Atienza, diba? So, Buding getting this award, much deserved, pero she really fought for that award. And despite Cherry Tigo not winning the bronze, makikita natin her individual stats also stand out in their latter games talaga.
You know, and of course, I love watching her highlights, and I only wish I could hear you react to all of them as they happened live. But let's move on to yung Clutch Queen Award. This one you give to Myla Pablo. And I just want to ask you, bakit Clutch Queen?
Clutch Queen, actually kapag sinabing Clutch Queen, alam natin Alyssa yan eh. Kasi sa mga 5-setter games, she'd always come alive in the 5th set and stuff like that. But I think in this particular conference, clutch si Myla in a sense na all throughout the conference, like the elims, hindi natin siya masyadong naramdaman. Although she was a starter, but we weren't seeing her usual bagyong Pablo outputs. But come the latter part of the tournament, she was exploding with 17 points, even falling behind their import by just 2 points in terms of top scoring for the team. So she really knows how to play big in big games. And she's one of the keys kung bakit na-secure talaga ng Petrogas yung championship in just 2 games. Kasi kung napabayaan pa nila yung napunta sa Signal, it could have had a different result, diba? So, Myla was actually key to securing that championship for Petrogas.
Well, basically stepped up when it mattered. But on to the next award, Miss Everything Award. What is this Miss Everything Award and who did you choose?
For Miss Everything, actually hindi na rin to bago kasi si Alyssa naman has had a lot of awards before. Kahit nung sa lumang format pa, she would have Best Spiker, Best Scorer, Best Server, MVP, diba? But I think she deserves this award this conference more than ever dahil even in the defensive stats, she topped those departments. She's actually number 4 in digging and number 10 in receiving by the end of the elim. So, alam mo yun, parang Alyssa Valdez na madagdagan pa ng more special skills, parang nasa kanya talaga lahat. So, I think that embodies talaga yung award.
Do you remember back in the day na tina-target siya dati ng mga opensa? I mean, like, those days are gone.
Ngayon, wala nang dating kapag kahit siya yung tina-target. Diba?
Yeah, absolutely. So, moving forward, we now have the Great Wall Award. And this goes to a defensive player. And of course, you're gonna pick out si Pangs Panaga. And given what the performance was in the semifinals and the final, and moving on after that, really easy choice for you to make, I'm guessing.
That's right. Especially because this conference, I think this season, she set the record in terms of highest tallied kill blocks in a game. So she actually had 9 in their game against Cherry Tigo.
Yeah, Cherry Tigo.
So, so she was key in containing the likes of Paat, Sivijovic, and Karandang with just 8 points and 6 points, which is talagang hindi yun yung usual numbers nila. I mean, Paat would have 19 and 20 plus on her usual days. Pero with Panaga really playing well in that game, she was able to intimidate and limit their scoring output.
Yeah, sabi nga ni Noringo that it's like she had magnets on her hands for some reason. Sa kanya napupunta yung bola. You also mentioned a game changer award, and you mentioned si Janelle Cheng, who I enjoyed so much watching in the finals. Just the way that she makes the game of volleyball look so easy. How special was she for you?
I just think there's no Petrogas championship without Janelle Cheng.
Wow.
I mean, yung dinaanan nilang butas ng karayom talaga going to, securing that 4th spot. Until the last day of the elims, we don't know kung sino yung 4th team na makakapasok sa semis. But, her game really carried Petrogas to enter the semis and then eventually get the championship. And as much as Van der Weide is really instrumental in that championship, my personal choice for finals MVP is really Janelle Cheng kasi she made everyone played calm and confident, and that's really what's important. So she managed to give everyone shining moments. Sila Remy Palma, even sila MJ Phillips, and even ng Aiza Maizo.
Yeah.
So siya yung personal pick ko for finals MVP. So I would just give her the Game Changer Award.
Absolutely. So speaking of, actually may bonus award ka dito. Anong award nga yun, Jegs?
It's called the Queening Award.
Queening?
And I'm very interested. Ano ba tong Queening Award ni Mela Tunay?
Queening Award. Alam mo, sabi ko kanina kay Sao Carale, shout out kay Sao. Sabi ko, gusto kong bigyan ng award si Nang Aiza kasi kaya lang hindi ko alam yung tawag. Pero I think with everything that she's proven in the Philippine volleyball landscape, it's very simple to, para let's put it simply as Queening Award. Kasi yung mga nagagawa niya, siya pa lang talaga yung nakakagawa. It went viral online how Nang Aiza won a championship in all the volleyball leagues here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So not even sila Alyssa was able to do that kasi sila Alyssa naman hindi nag-PSL, and then sila Chang Abby before, hindi naman sila nag-PVL or Shakey's. It was only Nang na nagjo-join ng lahat ng leagues na yan and at the same time won championships. So queening talaga in a sense na she won all those championships, she has all these awards, but even at this point na ang dami mga bagong players, kaya niya pa rin makipagsabayan. Even though she wasn't fielded in nung mga elims part ng Petrogas campaign, the most important games, semis, last 2 games of the elims, and even in the finals, siya rin talaga yung isang maasahan na leader nila, and hindi siya nawala at all. She's very consistent with her outputs.
Yeah, she made a big difference, and to the point that alam ko nagka-batchmate siya with some of our friends in our coverage team. So honestly, great achievement for Aiza Maiza Pontillas, a serial winner. Mela, maraming salamat. Hopefully we can have you in the studio next time kapag wala ng traffic and it's not a hassle for you to come here.
Thank you, Mela.
Hindi na Friday. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Pao. Thank you, Diego.
Thank you, Mela. So after the break, we'll check in with our proud Pinoy fighters set to compete at the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship Asia 4. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
welcome back to the game. The 4th edition of the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship Asia is set to take place tomorrow in Bangkok, and 2 exciting Pinoy fighters will compete at the Big Bash. Joining us tonight are kababayans set to represent the country, Gabriel Rolando D and Joemil Miado. Mga idol, kamusta?
Okay lang, idol.
Alright, let's start
Thank
it
you
off.
for inviting us here.
Thank you, salamat din sa time. Alam ko nasa Thailand na kayo, ready na kayo for the fight tomorrow. Pero Rolando, magsimula tayo sa'yo. Kamusta naman yung mga preparations mo dito? You've been a veteran na when it comes to fighting, pero first time mo na lumaban dito sa Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship.
Yes. Actually, for me, it's medyo madali siya. Medyo hindi siya ganun ka-stressful kumpara sa paghahanda ko ng MMA. Sa MMA kasi hindi matatapos yung araw mo sa boxing lang eh. Like after boxing, the next is you need to do wrestling or you need to do PJJ. The next day you need to do strength conditioning, and the next day you do this, you do that. Kasi maraming holes ang mixed martial art. Medyo stressful siya paghandaan. Plus 5 minutes per round pa. Ngayon, I just do boxing and tapos na yung araw ko. After ko mag-training ng boxing, after ko tumakbo, mag-training ng boxing, the next day sparring ng boxing. Bali, umikot na lang yung mundo ko sa boxing and hindi siya ganoon ka-stressful. Kaya if as a fighter, as an athlete, as a professional athlete na nanggaling sa mixed martial art na grabe yung stress during training, tapos mahabang
para mas madali na. Oo. And of course,
mas madali na ngayon kasi I only focus on boxing, plus yung haba ng rounds, 2 minutes per round lang kami sa bare knuckle. So
it's a lot better. Oo. So Rolando, sorry, we're gonna move on muna kay Joemil. Joemil, may background ka na sa professional boxing, of course, with a record already of 10-1. Sa palagay mo ba advantage yan para sa'yo? Kasi syempre, it's bare knuckle boxing. It's boxing without the gloves.
Wala lang yung gloves.
Kailan naman po, ang safe lang naman, pero mas mahirap yung boxing talaga eh.
Well, Joemil, sorry, just to add on to that, kasi syempre iba being hit with a glove. Pero when you look at yung mentality of actually being hit na bare knuckle, kamusta naman yun, yung adjustment sa idea na yun?
Ano lang, mahirap lang siya kasi delikado yung sa scratch pag suntukan na. Pero pag sa training, okay lang.
Oo.
Kasi
Medyo controlled sa training eh.
ayun,
Oo, gets naman yun.
MMA.
Oo.
Pero like MMA, ano lang naman eh. Yung nakapagod lang talaga sa MMA, yung araw-araw na training. So, kapag sinabi ni Coach Rolando.
Rolando, ikaw, para lang sa mga fans na nagtataka, ano yung mga main difference ng actual boxing dito sa bare knuckle fight? Kasi iba rin yung ring na linalaroan nyo eh.
Yes, sa actual boxing, square na ring, sa ring pag-usapan. Sa katulad sabi mo, sana naman sa BKFC naman, ginagamit na circle na ring.
Oo.
Plus, of course, sa bare knuckle boxing, walang gloves. Isa pa yan. Tapos, sa bare knuckle boxing, 2 minutes. Sa professional boxing na merong gloves talaga na nakasanayan natin, 3 minutes. So because they wanted yung mga hindi mag-stall yung fighter. In 2 minutes kasi talagang bakbakan niya kasi hindi mahaba yung round eh. Plus, kaya mas exciting. Plus, pwede kang mag-dirty box. Para siyang pinag-boxing na hinaluan konti na MMA. Pwede kang mawak na underhook, control ng ulo habang sumusuntok sa professional boxing kasi bawal yan.
So kapag may clinch, pwede pang manapak.
Simple lang.
Oo. Rolando, Joemil, sorry.
Alam ko hindi 10 seconds.
Joemil, Rolando, sorry. I wish we had more time to talk about yung mga fight nyo mismo. But then, we're unable to do that right now because of yung time constraints natin. But don't forget, our ating mga kababayan can watch you at 5:30 p.m. on One Sports Plus live. And of course, there's a replay the next day at 7:30 p.m. Maraming salamat, guys. Congratulations
Thank you so much.
in advance
Thank you
and
so
good
much.
luck sa fight ninyo.
Thank you, mga idol. And thank you guys for joining us. I'm Diego Dari.
I'm Paulo De Rosario. This has been The Game.